Good morning, Tri-State. Welcome to Facebook Live Thursday. We have a really important topic to speak to you guys about. We ask that if you're driving that you would please wait till you're stopped to watch this, or you can always come back and watch it later. I do want to make an announcement before I introduce our guests. We had a request to make a women's Facebook group for just women of Tri-State truckers specifically. If you would like to join that group, it's by invitation only. Like, I have to go in and approve you to make sure that you're a driver of ours. If you would like to join that group, please email facebook@tristatesecured.com. I will try to get you added, but it's just a place where we can be encouraging and give advice for all ages, all backgrounds, all experiences from your fellow women truckers. Today we have our HR department. We have Cheryl Hinkle and Ruth Green, and they're going to be talking about open enrollment insurance, all that jazz. So I'm going to flip it on over to them and we'll get started.
Good morning. I hope everybody's having a good day. We are going to talk about open enrollment. I'm sure everybody just loves this time of year. So our open enrollment starts, it started November 1st, so it's going on now. And it closes on November the 17th. There's two ways that you can enroll on the healthcare plan. You can go to 844-831-5969, and that's how you can talk to a benefits counselor on the phone. I know a lot of people, even if you're tech savvy, are not very comfortable with making your enrollments over the computer. Or you can go to your DASKI portal, which is mydaskybenefits.com, and that walks you through step by step on how you do enrollment. One of the things that I want to talk about this year is it is a passive enrollment. So you can actually not do anything, and any coverage that you have currently is going to roll over. On that, the only thing that does not pertain to is if you currently are a participant in the HSA or the FSA, those you have to actively enroll in each year. Your election will not roll over, so you've got to go on and do an active enrollment for the whole thing. So if you don't want to make any changes at all, then you don't do anything. Your current elections are going to roll over. There's some changes to the actual plan this year. One of the reasons that we did this, DASKI is the one that goes out and basically gets the medical plan for all of the opcos that they own. There had been some problems on the plan that we was on. The plan that we was on was basically a unbundled plan. It was a reference-based pricing plan, which is great as far as cost savings. There are tremendous savings when we have a reference-based pricing plan. Part of the issues with that, though, is some providers are either not very familiar with it, or they are someone that just is not very good at negotiating the costs of the insurance and the claims that they're covering. And so what we found was there's a small percentage of the employees that were having balance bill issues. Basically what that means is they would go and maybe have a large claim, and they would actually have that come in, and the insurance would go ahead and pay what is reference-based pricing agreements on, which is Medicare plus 300%. And the provider would come back, accept that payment, and then turn around and bill the balance of what they considered was due to the actual participant, the employee. That's very frustrating for an employee, especially when they're already dealing with something that would have them having large claims. So DASKI heard that. It's, there was very small percentage in our group that was having those issues, but a lot of those issues were really geographically located in certain areas, so certain opcos were having a lot more issues than we were. So they went out and they shopped the market, and one of the decisions that was made was they were going to go with Blue Cross Blue Shield. It is going to be, the medical insurance is going to be through Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas. Even though that's out of Texas, that doesn't mean that it's not a nationwide plan. Obviously, Blue Cross Blue Shield is nationwide. One of the things that's going to be nice about that for the participants is, when you, even if you didn't have balance bill issues, if you took your insurance card to the doctor and gave it to them, a lot of providers, would be like, okay, who's your insurance? Is it Lucent? It wasn't Lucent. They were just a claims processor. It's truly Daskey's self-funded insurance. So even the confusion of people having to deal with trying to explain who their insurance carrier was a frustration for the employees. So Blue Cross Blue Shield, you're not going to have that problem. Obviously, you just take that to the doctor, give it to them, and there's not going to be any questions asked. One of the things that I want to go over with everybody is on the medical insurance, any claim that is incurred from, that's either ongoing now or goes through 12/31 of this year, you're going to continue to use the Health Pro that, we had been pushing on anything that you have that is an outstanding bill, that you're working with a balance bill issue, if you're already dealing with PAC. That is going to continue, and that will continue into the next year as far as any claim that is incurred or ongoing through 12/31 of this year. Anything that is a claims issue, a question, something like that happens from 1/1 of 2020 on, you're going to contact Blue Cross Blue Shield direct on anything medical related. You would still have the Health Pro for this year's claims, not for next year's claims. So on that, we've told you the Health Pro is your one-stop shop. They still are for anything through 12/31, but from that on, anything with Blue Cross Blue Shield, you're going to deal directly with Blue Cross Blue Shield on. If you have questions on anything and you're not sure who to reach out to, anybody on the HR team, myself, Ruth, and Brandon here in Joplin, Kelly in Arizona, we're here to help you and guide you. With HIPAA regulations, there's really, we can't look into a claim for you, but we can steer you in the right direction, tell you who you're supposed to call, and give you some guidance on what you're supposed to do with any issues like that. So my entire team is here to help you with that. One of the things that I want to talk about with the Blue Cross Blue Shield, having a standard Blue Cross Blue Shield plan. Obviously, if you've ever been on any BUCA plan, Blue Cross Blue Shield, United, Cigna, Aetna, all of those plans, they have their network that they utilize. If you go out of network, there is a higher cost share that you are going to pay. In the past, we've had the unbundled approach, and basically you could go anywhere you wanted. There wasn't a network. It was going to process like it was in network no matter what you did. That is not going to happen anymore. Blue Cross Blue Shield, one of the ways that they're able to contain the cost of a plan and to the plan is by utilizing their network. So they're, when you get your open enrollment guide, everybody should have got those via email already. We sent those out, I think, on the 31st of October. We sent those out. We can send, we'll be sending out again. But basically, anything, if you go out of network, there is a bigger cost share. Basically, there's a penalty that you're going to be responsible for. So on those lines, we're going to talk. Ruth's going to talk in a little bit about some things where you can go and make sure your providers are in network. But that is pretty standard for Blue Cross Blue Shield. That's one of the ways that they use, to contain cost on a plan. I will say a lot of people think that their insurance premiums are all they pay and that's the total cost of the plan. That is not the case. The company, even with the increases that you're seeing, the Platinum plan had a pretty significant increase. That's because the cost to the company was increased significantly. That's a very rich plan, kind of not really even a plan that's heard of in the industry anymore. Hardly anybody offers a $500 deductible plan because they are so expensive for the employer and the employees. So when you're looking at the medical plan, it's not only your premiums that you're paying, the company is paying a huge portion of the premiums as well. And then I think what a lot of people don't realize is we are self-funded. So basically any claim that's incurred, you know, we, the opcos, DASCII, you know, that is being covered by us until you hit something that they call stop loss insurance, and I won't get into all of that, but basically, you know, we are self-funded. So I want to make sure that people are aware it's no different than if you're shopping for a car, if you're, I'm a shopper, I'm a bargain shopper. Anybody that knows me knows that. I like to shop. So your health insurance is no different. You know, when you're deciding if, you know, man, I just kind of not feeling very well, and I, you know, I think I might have a sinus infection. Don't go to the emergency room. You know, that is a very expensive sinus infection. You know, that's a lot of claims incurred to the plan. You know, you can utilize different ways. You can do the teledoc that we have. You can do urgent care. Those are more cost effective than an ER visit. And, you know, obviously we want you to seek care and make sure that you're getting stuff taken care of. I'm not going to tell you that, you know, oh, it's not very important, don't go to the ER. You need to go where you feel like you need to be seen, but we just want to make sure that you're thinking about the cost to the plan, because ultimately, you know, if you have a sinus infection that you could have had treated through the teledoc, and you know, that's starting flu season, and you know, all this wonderful stuff that's in the air, you know, if we have hundreds of participants that's going to the ER every time that happens, that drives your claims cost up, which ultimately drives your premiums up and your plan cost up for the next year. You know, so just be smart about what you're doing when you're being seen at the doctor. You know, those things, there are a lot of things. The teledoc, Ruth is going to talk about that in a minute. That is something that is amazing, and you know, I'm here in Joplin, and I will do that before I go to the doctor, if I ever go to the doctor. But anyway, so you know, the medical insurance, I want you guys to go through the enrollment book and read up on that. If there's any questions, anybody on my team, myself included, we're willing to answer those for you. Hopefully the Blue Cross Blue Shield is a positive thing for everybody. I think we're excited to get that for the employees, and just have that recognized coverage that everybody's used to. Are there any questions on that part of it?
No, but I do want to point out Jake Moffitt says hello.
Hey! We're mad at you for being on vacation.
Yeah.
That's not fair. You're going to have Facebook Live next week.
There you go.
So I'm going to turn it over to Ruth, and she's going to go over a couple of things that we'll be sending to you via email for information, but she's going to touch on a couple of our things we have this year that we haven't had in the past.
So one of the benefits of being with a nationwide insurance carrier is Blue Cross Blue Shield has a mobile app that you can download. It's called Mobile Health Consumer App. And right now, before our benefit year plan starts on January 1st, you can schedule an appointment with a benefits counselor for the open enrollment on this app. You can also search for an in-network provider, which, as Cheryl touched on a minute ago, is very important, because with Blue Cross Blue Shield, you have the extra costs if you go out of network. So before the plan year takes effect in January 1/1, you can go download this app and be able to search for providers in your area that participate with Blue Cross Blue Shield, as well as checking and making sure that your current doctor is with Blue Cross and Blue Shield in their network. Now, after January, some of the really neat benefits that you can get from this app is you can view your medical ID cards and plan summaries. You can also check your deductible and your out-of-pocket expenses. You would be able to access teledoc, which we'll talk more about here in just a second, as well as it links you to the Blue Cross Blue Shield website, and you can even estimate what your out-of-cost expenses are going to be for certain procedures or things that you might medically need to have done. So that's a really good resource. So be sure and check that out. Download that app. It would be really handy. I'm excited about that app. I think that's going to be really helpful, especially for you drivers out there that aren't home very often, and this would make it a lot easier if you do have to go see a doctor while out on the
We've
road.
already downloaded it.
Yes, we did. We did, and it works good. I had a little bit of issue, but I wasn't reading the instructions quite right, so imagine that. But anyway, yeah, no, it works really well. You can also, Blue Cross Blue Shield has a website. It's bcbstx.com. And you can also go ahead and get on that, and you would sign in as a guest until January 1st. But you can go on there and be able to search for in-network providers as well. That's really probably about it right now, but there'll be all kinds of options, and most of the stuff that you can access through your mobile app, you could do directly from their website as well. So we mentioned a couple of times Teledoc, and that is also, you can download that through your mobile phone as well. Download the app. You can go online to teledoc.com, or you can call them, and you can do things as simple as for flu or colds, if you have a rash, if there's anything that would not constitute a medical emergency, you can utilize the Teledoc service. And they will, you'll be able to speak with a certified doctor, and they can even prescribe a prescription anywhere in the country. Wherever you might be at, they can call it in and you'll be able to get medicine. They can even renew prescriptions for you if you're not able to get into your doctor, or you didn't realize you were running low and you're not going to be home in time enough to get that taken care of. Teledoc can assist you with that. So if you're on the gold or the platinum plan, it's at no cost to you or any of the dependents on your medical plan to be able to use that service. If you're on the bronze plan, it is a $45 cost each time you utilize that service. However, that's still a lot less expensive than an emergency room visit or even going to urgent care. $45 is pretty good cost. So it's a great service. I've used it a couple of times. I send them a text message through the mobile app, whatever you want to say. Send a message through the mobile app, and a doctor called me within 10 minutes and prescribed me an antibiotic, and I was able to just go right to the pharmacy and pick it up. So I mean, it worked great, and I think Cheryl said she's used it a couple times.
Yeah,
too,
I actually used it when I was in Arizona, and I was worried about it, and was able to pick up a prescription.
Mm-hmm.
While I was there too, so it's and it is typically an hour or less before they call you back, so it's very efficient.
Yeah.
The only thing that I normally recommend is make sure if you think you're gonna have something, bronchitis, sinus infection, something like that you think they're gonna actually call in a script for you, go ahead and look in the area and see what pharmacy you have that's available, so you're not having to try to frantically do that while you're on the phone with them.
Mm-hmm.
So just make sure you look your pharmacy up that's in that area before you call the Teledoc. Thank you. So one of the things that we had touched on was the HSA and the FSA. So those are ways that you can put aside pre-tax dollars to pay for out-of-pocket medical expenses. The HSA, the Health Savings Account, that is only available with the bronze plan. That is because the IRS has specific regulations on what qualifies for that HSA. An HSA plan has to have basically zero first dollar coverage on copays, anything like that. Everything has to be deductible or subject to deductible and co-insurance to be eligible for a HSA. The nice thing about an HSA with the bronze plan is if you know that you're going to have out-of-pocket medical expenses, you're not paying a premium at all on the bronze plan for an employee only. So, you have no cost going on the premiums. You can put money in this HSA for the what ifs that could happen, and you're going to save the taxes on that. The nice thing about an HSA is an HSA does not have the use it or lose it rule that an FSA does. So on an HSA, you put the money in that account, that is your personal account. That will continue to roll from year to year, as long as you have that. It doesn't matter. That's your money that you put in there. So that's a way that if you're not a high utilizer of a plan, you can always put that money in the HSA and basically build up what your deductibles or anything like that would be, and you're going to be saving taxes on that money. Once again, it's, they give you a card that you can use when you have those one-offs that you have a doctor appointment. The FSA is a flexible spending account. The difference between it and the HSA is an FSA you can use with any plan. So you can use that with the bronze. I don't know why you would, because you would want to do the HSA. But you could do that with the bronze, the gold, or the platinum plan. Basically the same thing. You use pre-tax dollars that you put aside for out-of-pocket medical expenses. The difference with the FSA is, I tell people, that's not a given. Don't put the what ifs in there, because the IRS does have specific regulations with that plan that it does have the use it or lose it rule. Basically, you have the plan year plus 90 days to be able to incur expenses that you can submit into that and get it out, or use your card to be able to get that out of there. The FSA has two different components to it. You have the medical part of the FSA, if you choose that, which is for any out-of-pocket medical expenses, whether it's vision, dental, or the medical. Obviously, dental, it cannot be cosmetic. The over-the-counter prescriptions cannot be. That used to be where you can do those. Those have to have you have to have a script from the doctor that says that you have to take, like maybe Claritin over the counter or something. But those things, the FSA is one that it's a use it or lose it. So I don't want someone to get an FSA and have the gold plan and say, I'm going to put $20 a week in there, so I have $1,040 at the end of the year in case something happens. Because if something doesn't happen, and you're going to have to be buying a lot of pairs of glasses or something to be able to get that money out of there. But it is a way, if you're someone, like myself, you get glasses every year, that's a great way to get that, because I'm saving the taxes on that. Basically, you can have it come out of your check each week. You don't really feel that because it's coming right off the top of it, and then I don't have to come up with that money to get my glasses. If you're going to have some type of surgery done and you're going to have the deductible and stuff like that, that's a great way to be able to put that money aside to be able to do that. You get a card that basically looks just like a debit card, and when you go into the doctor or whatever, they just swipe that card and it comes right off the card as long as you've elected that amount of money for the year. Kind of almost a tax-free, interest-free loan for medical expenses. So those plans are really great if you utilize them for what they're intended for. They do have to be enrolled in each year. So like I participated in the Flex this year. If I did my passive enrollment and did not enroll in the plan, that's not going to continue into next year. I have to actively enroll to be able to elect that. So if you have any questions on those plans, once again, feel free to call in to anybody on my team and we can go over that with you. If you want those and you don't want to make any other changes, you still have to actively enroll through everything to be able to get those. So if you have any questions, let us know. Riley, is there anything coming in? Okay. We're so good that nobody has to ask anything. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. Ruth is going to go over some of the ancillary coverages that we have. And we're getting close to being done.
Dawn says hi.
Who?
Your sister.
Oh, hey.
So we still are carrying the same supplemental insurances that we did last year. There's really no changes for those. We have the accident coverage, hospital indemnity, critical care illness or critical illness coverage. as well as short-term, long-term disability. I think that's it.
Identity theft.
Identity theft, yeah.
You name it, we've got it.
I tell them in class, I said, we offer just about everything but home and car insurance.
Exactly.
So those are all still available this year. If you've never opted into like the long-term, short-term disability and some of those before, now is your opportunity if you would like to go ahead and get those coverages to get those. I just want to remind you that there are a few of them, short-term disability, long-term disability, and if you want to get additional voluntary life insurance, those are all, unless you are a true new hire, first time enrolling with our insurance, then you could be subject to an evidence of insurability, which basically just means they would ask you medical questions, and based on those answers, they could or could not deny you to be able to have that insurance coverage. And but you wouldn't be paying any premiums. It wouldn't take effect unless you are approved for it. So that's just something to remember that you might be subject to if you opt into one of those insurances during the open enrollment. And another thing that I want to be sure and remind you all of is that if you have the accident insurance or the critical illness insurance, you can get a wellness benefit, which for the employee, and if they have a spouse on their medical coverage, that's $50 back to them if they submit that. A wellness claim, and then for each child it's $25 up to $100. To get the wellness benefit, it can be anything from blood tests for triglycerides, fasting blood glucose, serum cholesterol test for HDL and LDL, even well child and preventative visits, exams to the doctor, and I didn't even realize this until I was getting ready to do this, routine dental exams and as well as routine vision exams can be submitted for your wellness benefit as well. Again, it's, you don't want to just leave that money sitting out there. So if you have the critical illness coverage or the accident insurance, be sure and do those claims. You can submit those two different ways. You can log on to www.voya.com/claims, and it's just super easy. You just will click on the submit claim button, and then there's all the choices of the different insurances that you want to submit a claim to. So then you would click on the wellness, and it takes you step by step through submitting that claim process. You could also call directly to the claims department at Voya at 877-236-7564. And another thing I wanted to mention was it doesn't matter if any of those things that qualify as a wellness visit, those doesn't necessarily have to be ones that you paid for out of pocket. If it was considered preventative and it was at no cost to you, you can still get your wellness benefit as long as you submit that. So be sure and take advantage of that.
Yeah,
sure.
That covers most of your premium for the year just by submitting those claims in.
Right.
A couple of other things before we wrap up. So we didn't really touch on the dental and vision. Those are staying with the same providers. Dental still with MetLife. There was a slight increase in cost on that, very minimal. Vision is still through IMED. There was no increase in cost on that. So those coverages are still going to be the same as they were last year. One last thing, the 401k. I know I get questions on this a lot. We have a very good 401k plan. The company matches dollar for dollar on the first 3% of contributions, and then it's 50% on the 4th and 5th percent. So anytime we have an employee that puts in 5%, you're basically getting dollar for dollar on your 4% because it's 3% and then the 50% of the 4th and 5th. So you're already getting a 100% ROI on what you're putting in. That's pretty rich in today's market. So the 401k is a great way to save for retirement. It's not too late to enroll for that if you've not ever participated in it. If you've been here 6 months, you can enroll in that. The enrollment is right now. It's going on, and basically as long as you're enrolled or you say you're going to start participating in that no later than that first week of December, that would start effective 1/1 of 2020. The enrollment for 401k is always in a quarter, so it's going to be, your enrollment has to be completed, no later than the first week of the month before the quarter starts. So first week of December, you would start January of 2020. Like I said, you have to have been with the company for 6 months, and it starts first of the quarter following that 6 months of employment. If you want to change your elections, if you want to up them, same thing. That only happens every quarter. So if you're participating now and say you're only doing 3% and you want to get the extra benefit and you want to up it, you can do that now. That would take effect for 1/1 of 2020. Their website is 401k.com. Not hard to remember that. Also in your packet, your enrollment guide that you got, it has the information for the 401k. The 401k is great, and I think a lot of people don't take advantage of that money that the company matches. The good thing about the plan is it a safe harbor plan, so that means there is no vesting schedule on the money that the company matches. That match is made weekly. So if you've put in $100 and we're putting in $30, that $30 is your money. It doesn't matter if you've been here 1 year or if you've been here 10 years. Used to, on a plan that was not a safe harbor plan, there was a matching schedule. You always got your money, but then the company's money was on a schedule based on the tenure with the company, and a safe harbor plan is not like that. So the 401k is a great thing to get into to save for retirement. That's open right now too. No later than December, that first week of December. So just kind of to wrap up, open enrollment now through November the 17th. If you have any questions, anybody on my team is willing to answer those as best we can. If we don't know, we're not afraid to say, I don't know, I'm going to have to get back with you. I've said that before. So are there any questions, Riley? Okay. Well, we hope everybody has a great day and be safe out there. You're representing Tri-State, and we're proud that you're putting in the work for us. So have a great day. Thanks.